Almost all advances in genetic research give rise to ethical dilemmas. Okay, so almost all advances in genetic research, a lot like there gives rise or makes us think of like these ethical dilemmas. Government is the exclusive source of funding for most genetic research. Okay, so for most of the genetic research, government is the sole provider for the funding. Those projects not funded by the government are funded solely by corporations. Okay. One or the other of these sources of funding is necessary for any genetic research. So if we are going to have genetic research, we know that one of the sources is either going to be like government funding or it's going to be from corporations. So if all the statements above are true, then which of the following must be true? So what kind of question is this?
Must be true.
Yeah, so do we tend to want strong or mild answer choices?
Mild. I'm wrong. Strong.
No, mild, absolutely mild. Yep.
Oh.
Or I was reading the answer choices. Sorry, you're saying that mild. Yes. Okay. So this is a bottom or top down. So go ahead and start with A and read it out loud and tell me if you love it, leave it, or hate it.
Okay. A. Most advances in genetic research occur in projects funded by government rather than by corporations. I'm not sure because it says most advances. So I don't know. I would keep going. B, most genetic research funded by government results in advances that give rise to ethical dilemmas. I don't know. I want to keep going. I have no idea. C, at least some advances in genetic research occur in projects funded by corporations. So, I mean, because I know I want a mild answer choice, that one is tempting. But I don't know. D, no ethical dilemmas resulting from advances in genetic research arise without government or corporate funding. I would probably just eliminate that one because it's just way too strong. E, as long as government continues to fund genetic research, that research will give rise to ethical dilemmas. I would eliminate that one.
Okay. So let's go back and understand this stimulus again, because so we're saying almost all, so nearly all advances in genetic research give rise to ethical dilemmas. So most of the advances in genetic research give rise to ethical dilemmas. Government is the exclusive source of funding for most genetic research. So for most of the genetic research, most of the sources come from the government. Those projects not funded by the government are solely funded by corporations. So if it's not by the government, we know it's going. So if it's not the government, what in regards to genetic research, we know it's going to be a corporation. One or the other of these sources of funding is necessary for any genetic research. So if we don't have genetic research, then, or if we have genetic research, we know one of it has to either be from the government, at least part of it is from the government, or part of it's from the corporation.
Okay.
So yeah, just because almost all advances give rise to ethical dilemmas doesn't mean that as long as government continues to fund. So E is really easy to cross off.
Mm-hmm.
D is wrong because you're like what you said about the too strong. No ethical dilemmas result from advancements in genetic research without government or corporate funding. But this was really strong, but doesn't all of our research need to come from either the corporations or the government?
Yeah.
So could we have ethical dilemmas resulting from advances in genetic research without government and corporate funding? All right, let's skip over that one for now.
Okay.
Let's go to A. So more than half of the advances in genetic research occur in projects funded by government rather than the corporations. Do we know that more than half?
No, we don't know that. Yeah.
B, most genetic research funded by government results in advances that give rise to ethical dilemmas.
We don't know that either.
Yeah, because we know almost all advances in genetic research give rise,
Right.
but we don't know that they all are funded by the government, so it can't be
Yeah.
B. C says at least one advances in genetic research occur in projects funded by corporations. Do we know that?
I think so.
Well, it just says, all it says is those projects not funded by the government are funded solely by corporations. But do we know that so it says government is the exclusive source of funding for most genetic research. And if it's not the government, then it's corporation. But do we know that all of these genetic researches lead to advances?
No.
No. So maybe only the government sourced funding is what leads us to this research or leads us to advances.
Okay.
So it actually is D, because in order to have advances or in order to have any type of genetic research period, it has to include money from the government or the corporation.
Okay.
So we can't, yeah, so that's why it's D. But there were a lot of really strong answer choices here. But we do have some really we have the word solely and exclusive. Like we have some really strong words in our stimulus though too.